everyone, welcome to the stream. Well, it looks like maybe one person's here, but if you're here, let me know by letting me know that you can see me and hear me. Leave me a comment in the chat. Let me know that you are here. And that is really weird. What I'm seeing on camera seems to be a little bit more zoomed in, or maybe not. Oh well. Anyway, welcome to the stream. Whoever is here, let me know you're here. Leave me a comment. Let me know that you can see me and hear me. And I may just need to focus a little bit more. I think that looks better. There we go. All right. Are you here? Are you here? Can you see me? Can you hear me? In the absence of anybody in the chat, I will check and make sure that at least I can be seen. At least I can be seen. Can I be seen? I can be seen. Can I be heard? Yes, I can be heard. Perfect. All right. So tonight, yes, I know that it's been a couple weeks since I've had a live stream. We were away in Florida. And let's see. Let's make sure the chat works. Ray O'Connell, welcome to the stream. Yep, you can see me and you can hear me. That is perfect. All right. Okay. Yeah, so I've been away for 2 live stream nights because we were away in Florida. So pretty hard to do a modeling live stream when you are not in the country. Let's see. Jeffrey Fink says, you are coming through well. Thank you. All right, we are here in the studio tonight, and we have our Spockified science officer teacup with the tea Earl Grey hot, which will be fueling me for the whole stream tonight. What's up on the stream tonight? We are going to be moving on to construction phase of the 650 scale Enterprise D projects. I don't have a ton of time left before this thing needs to be done. In fact, let me pull up in the background here exactly how much time I have left. Let's see. There we go. That's not right. It's kind of hard to do this. I have to actually look. There we go. 89 days, 3 hours, 2 minutes. Yeah, 3 months. I've got March, which we are in now, April, and May, and then they have to be done for Wonderfest, or at least one of them has to be done for Wonderfest. So I'm going to be into that crunch time on the project. So what we need to do is I need to zoom out because this is bothering me a little bit on just how zoomed in it actually is. There we go. That's going to just make me feel a little less camera claustrophobic on the camera. All right. So lighting and construction, that's March. Lighting and construction has to be done in March to stay on time. April, that's painting. All painting has to be done in April. And then May is decals, top coats, get it on the base, all the final details. And then it goes in a crate and goes in the car to Wonderfest. So what we're going to be doing tonight is getting a start on looking at figuring out how we're going to get the nacelle bottoms attached to the pylons. Because what's going to happen in the course of the construction now is that we are going to build the bottoms of the pylon let me try that again. We're going to be building the bottom of the nacelles onto the pylons, and we're going to be building the pylons onto the lower secondary hull and the armature. And then we're going to be lighting everything for the secondary hull and the nacelles, finishing that construction and moving on to the saucer. So lots to do. I'm hoping it's going to go together really, really well and really, really easily. So since my last update video, I have done the putty work on the second of the pylons. I've smoothed it out as best I can. That one was giving me a little bit more trouble than the first one, but I've got the first one primed now. So I'm going to pull it over to the bench and we're going to start working on that. Okay. Let me switch over to the bench view. Throw my face up there in the corner. And this is what we are working with so far. And got some strange paint stuff going on in this little section here. That's going to just require a little bit of sanding. A little bit of sanding, I think, over in this corner here. But the majority of this looks fairly good. Let me just put this up here where the metal piece went in. So a little bit of work to do here and a little bit of work to do over here, which I think is just paint because I think it pooled on the curve when I painted that. So that's looking quite good. I'm really pleased with how this one turned out. The other one might be a bit more of a pain, but this one at least has turned out quite well, I think. I'm just going to remove the masking I put on there to protect the painted surface. And yeah, so the next trick is going to be getting the nacelles installed onto these pylons. So we'll have to see what we can do about that. Let me go get the pylons and I'll be right back. And of course, when I said let me get the pylons, I meant let me get the nacelle bottoms, and we'll be right back. All right, so we're going to have to do some work to make sure that these get lined up where they are supposed to go. Now, I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue because the pylons and the area that they made up to on the nacelles there are about the same length. So we shouldn't have too much trouble properly locating these things. Now, what I might want to do is install a pin. Let me just get something to point with here. And actually, let me zoom in a little bit closer on this top camera here. That way you'll be able to see what's going on a bit better. Let me get something to point with. So we have the extruded portion of the supports here that are sticking out of the pylons. If you remember, if you've seen, there is a steel piece that is going across here that's been sealed in and covered and camouflaged. Again, really well camouflaged on this one. We'll have to do some work on the others. And that is sticking up here. What I may want to do is once I get this roughly located on here and I get the equivalent area drilled out on the bottom for this metal piece to slot into. Let me turn it to the side so you can see that. That's the metal piece. And that's going to slot in there. So I'm going to clear this out to create the space for that piece to slot in. What I might do is look at aligning a pin in the front that's going to match one of these holes. That way I get a little bit of proper side to side alignment. In fact, I may not even need to put a metal pin in. I might just put like a piece of styrene tube or something that's the right size, because I just need it as a locator tool to make sure that they are straight this way, because you don't want like one pylon like this and like this. You don't want you don't want a snowplow skier type of thing happening on the nacelles. So we are going to kind of work through this tonight and prepare these parts for assimilation. I mean installation into the ship, not assimilation. Now, one of the pylon. I'm always getting nacelles and pylons mixed up when I'm talking. One of the nacelle pieces came broken here at the front in shipping, and it looks like it's one of the top pieces, not the bottom pieces. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to double check the. I'm going to double check the. I can't talk. The reference material, just to make sure that I get these on the right side. You'll notice that there is detail here on one side, not the other. Pretty sure that this is an airlock which has to face outboard on the ship. So I think they go on these sides, but let me pull up the reference material so that I am 100% certain on that. Okay, pulling it up. You can't see it yet on my screen, on your screen, sorry, but I can see what I'm doing here. And we are going into Enterprise D, reference photos, Todd's photos, and we are looking at nacelle detail, I imagine. And we are going to pull up here's a photo that should hopefully give us some indication of what's going on. Let me... That's weird. My screen share has disappeared. I have a studio set up here where I can instantaneously, normally, show my screen. But it doesn't seem to be showing. But that's okay. It's there. It's just showing the wrong screen. But now I can put this up here. This looks like it is the port warp engine. And if you look at this here, it's just got those two markings here. So I'm pretty sure, if we go back to this look, that this is the port warp engine that I had in my hand there. But let's look for a little bit more confirmation on that. I'm not seeing good photos here, so let's take a look at the Star Drive photos and just see if there is something that, and you know what? I am not seeing. Oh, I think I've got a good photo right here. Yes, there we go. That is the photo I've been looking for. All right. So this shows that. And if you can see there, let me just show you here. That is on the outside. That bit of detail is definitely on the outside. So we have these correct. Now I'm going to take my Sharpie. Let's see. Ray says, can you show close up of pylons with where wires are? Sure. I just had the wires. I had the wires just taped underneath because I've been doing a whole ton of sanding. So let me just free them here. I was doing a ton of wet sanding on the epoxy sculpt that I used to lock in those metal pieces. And I'll grab a picture of the metal pieces before I did the putty work. So if you haven't been following, you've got an idea of what's going on. Oh, and Jack Trooper is here as well. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the live stream. So the wires are coming through here. They are embedded. It's having a bit of trouble focusing on that. They are now embedded into the pylons, and they are coming out here. Let me pull, I can always remask this later. That's not a problem. So let me pull this stuff all off so you can see what's going on underneath here. I don't mind a little bit of show and tell. All right, so got a pointer. This is the steel piece that is embedded now into the pylons. And looking at this, you'd never know that it's pretty close to the surface here. Let me just see if I can grab a photo of what that looked like pre all the work I did on it. Yeah. Okay. So, okay, I've got it here. Here's what it looked like as I was dremeling out the troughs for it. Let's see. This is part of that work in progress. Then this is the metal piece, which has been treated with red oxide paint, being clamped in there, epoxied in place. Then this is the steel piece inserted in, and then the second set of pylons being hogged out. And then let's see. Here are some test shots of the fin lights that are on the back end. There's the one top and bottom. Here is it in process with the epoxy sculpt in there. And there it is before it was smoothed and refined. So that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of the journey that we've been on to bring it to this point here now. So those wires, they are embedded in here. They're coming up, and then they're coming down the center. Sorry, I just need to move some things around because I've got some extra windows open. Jody is here. Welcome, Jody. Welcome, Trek Mods, to the stream. Thanks for stopping by. It's been a bit of a slow start, but we're getting there. Of course, I've got my tea. Oh, I've got my tea, Earl Grey, hot in the Spock-inspired Science Officer cup. My Picard teacups have shipped, so they should be arriving sometime in the next week or two, I would imagine. So, Jody, just to bring you up to speed what we're doing tonight, I've gotten this all sealed up. I've got sanded down. This one is looking really nice. The other one I think is going to take a bit more work, but I've got primer on here because I wanted to see just how it's turned out, and it's looking pretty good. There's a bit of odd paint primer stuff going on here. I think that's going to need to be sanded down and a reshot of paint on there. It's still a little, it's not fully cured. So I'm going to let this sit overnight and fully cure. And then I'll sand that down and give it another shot of the primer. But I'm really, really happy with how this has turned out. So what I'm working on tonight is, and I need to turn this around. I am now going to be working on the alignment and sorting through the installation. I can probably zoom this out a little bit now. Nope, that's the wrong way. It's always counterintuitive for me. So I can now work on getting these warp engines aligned properly. Now, it's not going to be as bad. I don't think it's going to be as bad as I thought it was, because the length of this area here is pretty much equal to the length of the pylon here. So it shouldn't be too rough of a job to get that aligned. And I was just saying a couple of minutes ago that because I've got the metal piece coming up from the armature that's going to be inserted into, let me get these wires out of the way. It's going to be the main structural join to the warp nacelles. I might just insert a pin or a styrene pin up here just as a location tool so that it inserts into one of these holes that are in the bottom of the nacelle, and that'll just help me make sure these are aligned. Do the majority of the work of aligning these so that we don't have somebody doing the snowplow, like a skier doing the snowplow. Shouldn't be too difficult to get these aligned, so it shouldn't take me too much time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to clear out all the material between what looks like this point. Okay, I'm saying that as if you can see it. So let's roughly get this aligned. I'm going to clear out all the material between this hole here and this hole back here, which will give enough space, hopefully, for the top part of the pylon armature to slot in and the wires to go in. And then, likewise, I said, we might put a pin up front here. I'm hesitant to drill anything in there, so I might just put a temporary locator pin here that I'm not too worried about. I can just glue that on potentially. So let's start by getting this marked as far as where exactly it needs to go on. Now, I'm going to grab that nice reference photo we had earlier, and I need to close some references here so I don't get myself confused on what graphics I'm showing you all on screen. Okay. Let's move over to this shot here. And for alignment, we can essentially take, let me get my mouse here. We can essentially, so where it joins on the model is along, oh, yeah, you can see that. Okay, is along this line right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that this angle is perfect. And that's going to be my location spot. This angle here, as long as that is perfect, then we should have a good alignment and location front to back on the nacelle on this part. So that's not going to be too difficult. So let me switch back to the desk view here, right here. Now, is Ken on this in the chat? Is Ken in the chat? Ken, or somebody who is familiar with the Sonic Saber. So is Ken or somebody familiar with the Sonic Saber? I need some Sonic Saber advice by somebody who has used it. Let me see if I can solicit some help here. Let me just go into a Discord chat. Anyone who has used the Sonic Saber so far able to give me some advice on stream? So Jody, yeah, you have one. You just got one. Have you had a chance to use it yet? That's the question. Have you had a chance to use it yet? And how much have you had a chance to use it, if you have had a chance to use it? So I am going from this opening here. So it looks like I'm just marking where I think I need to remove material. And I don't want to remove more material than I have to. Oh, Ken is here. All right. Ken. And feel free, Ken, to hop in and actually talk in person if you want to, because I have some questions regarding the Sonic Saber. And Blair's here. Welcome, Blair. Welcome to the stream. Working on getting ready to install some lower nacelles. Because in order to get this thing done for Wonderfest, I have to get all the construction done in March. I have to get all the painting done in April, which should line up with the warmer temperatures, which means I should be able to get the big garage doors open for airflow, which is great. And then May is all about decals, clear coats, and getting it onto the base. So Ken is here. Hello, Ken. Oh, he's here, but he's not in the stage yet. He's not joined me here yet. How's it going?
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Let me just switch my audio over to my earbuds so that I don't get echoing in the stream. So, uno momentos, por favor. I don't know if that's right because I speak French, not Spanish. More devices. That way I'll have you in my ears, and then there's no risk of any echoing on stream. Say something, Ken.
Something.
Okay, perfect. I've got you in my ears. Yay. All right. So I have a question. So you've been using your Sonic Saber extensively, correct?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so you have more idea of what it can and cannot do than I do at this point. So let me just bring you up to speed on what's going on here. I'm going to be cleaning out area on these nacelles where I've marked in the marker. So I'm going to be cleaning out this printed resin, and it's fairly thick. So it's probably, at this point, probably 8 millimeters thicker or a bit more.
All right.
Would that be a good candidate for the Sonic Saber, or should I use a hogging bit on my Dremel?
I'd almost say the Dremel.
Okay.
To be honest, you can give the Sonic Saber a try, but I know resin's pretty dense, and that is pretty thick resin.
Yeah, because it's
I think give it a shot.
It's solid. I mean, apart from these holes, it's solid all the way through to the underside of the nacelle in here. So I don't know. I might be underselling. It might actually be at this point about a centimeter thick.
Yeah, I'm also thinking the Sonic Saber has the blade, the actual length of the cutting surface on the blade may not be long enough.
Okay.
To go all the way through that, you'd have to start rocking it through there. And
okay,
that,
so
may not be the safest option.
Okay, so it might be better to use the Dremel on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. I don't know how well you can see it here, but this pylon turned out pretty well for hiding the embedded metal support in here.
It did actually. It's looking really good.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of weird stuff going on with the primer over here. This is still not fully cured yet, so I'm going to leave it overnight and let it fully cure, and then I'm going to go and I'm going to sand that area. I've also got some, I don't know if you can really see it here, but some of the primer pooled a little bit. I might have been a little heavy on it over here, and it pooled because of the curve. So I'll probably sand that down a bit too once it's fully cured, and then just give it a top coat kind of thing going on there. But I think it's turned out fairly well. There was a spot where I thought it was stepping down, but it was just a shadow from the wire. So quite happy with how that's turned out.
What kind of primer have you used?
I'm using my go-to, my Rust-Oleum 2 times.
Okay.
Because I can easily get that here at Home Depot.
Yeah.
And then I've used the Duplicolor adhesion promoter down first. So I always like to do that, especially on jobs where I'm going to be doing an extensive paint job on it with the Aztecs and removing masks and tape and all kinds of stuff, because I don't want to risk anything pulling on it.
Yeah.
So.
No, it looks awesome.
I'm not priming the whole thing. I've just primed that top surface because the gray really does show the multitude of sins when it comes to putty work.
Yeah, the darker the color, the better it shows.
Yeah,
so like anywhere from like a medium gray all the way to a black, just kind of makes it the easiest to see. You can still see it with like a white primer and whatnot. It's just more difficult to see.
Yeah. So Blair, you'll see the metal support here, but it pretty much disappears once it goes into these pylons. And any little bit of variance that we see on this now will be secondarily, if that's a word. Is that a word? Secondarily? I'm not sure.
It is now.
It is now. We've dubbed it a word, but it'll be secondarily hidden by the blow-away panels that go on here. I'm not entirely sold on using the kit provided ones yet. I might use vinyl, just because I'm not sure about the thickness of this. It might be a little bit too thick for the scale, and a couple layers of cut vinyl might look a little bit better. I'm undecided yet, so part of it will be hidden by that, and then any of the rest of it will be hidden by the Aztec paint detail on it. So it's turned out far better than I was hoping to, with the amount of work I've had to put into this one. Now the other one might need a bit more love, might need more work. We've got Ian. It's not Ian. Wow, he's going to kill me there. We've got Todd in the chat. Good evening, Todd. Yeah, were you on last night when were you still streaming when Ian hit the big red button?
I was, yeah.
Yeah. So did you guys just decide not to stream anymore?
Yeah, we were sitting backstage. We're like, well. And people started saying, well, I guess I kind of at a stopping point, and all of us kind of agreed. So
yeah,
we just said, well, no sense starting up again.
and Todd says, yeah, in regards to probably my slip there.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I will go with the Dremel on that. Now I can also go from both sides here. And
yeah, you got the good holes there to show you where to go.
Yeah, and what I'm thinking I'm going to do is put some sort of pin on the front that lines up with one of these front holes here, and then that should just prevent side to side slide when I put it in there. And Dash is here. Dash says, is Ian here to end the stream? No, Ian is not here to end the stream.
No Ian tonight, Dash. Not yet.
No. I don't know if Ian could actually be in one of my streams, because I am E for everyone, and I'm not sure Ian knows how to be E for everyone. So
yes.
So fourth slot in, 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth slot in. Okay, and two beyond that. What are you working on tonight, Ken?
I was just editing my video for my Reliant buddy build.
Yeah? So how is that coming along?
Good. This episode was mostly just sanding and puttying the windows around them. Just for those panels we put in for the windows.
Yeah.
And then a little bit of photo etch on top. That was pretty much my week. Just getting those windows, putty, and then wait half a day or whatever, and then sand and then putty again.
So what's your release time on those videos?
We're trying to do once a week.
Okay.
Sunday mornings, and usually Saturday evenings. I'm usually finishing up editing and getting ready to put it out.
And Dash says,
I can show you what I got.
Sure. Dash says, "Oh, it's great." You'll have to. There you go.
So, yeah, I was just sanding in all these windows here, getting them nice and smooth. They're not set with the top yet because the top's not permanently in place. I just put it on for the end of my video. But
so those are the parts that the ensign's chair designed, right?
Yes, they are. So this kit goes from having no windows to having these.
Okay.
I've done ball phasers.
Yeah.
A little bit of photo etch on the top.
And a bridge module replacement, I see.
Yes, clear. This is from Lake Monster Detail. Lake Monster is also printing all these off. So looking forward to it.
Yeah. So Lake Monster is the are the guys that took over Dawn's Light and Magic stuff after he passed, right?
Yes, they are. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought so. Yeah, that's looking nice.
Yeah.
And the it's been a long time since I built the AMT Reliant, and it was the old kit I built before they made the adjustments.
Yeah, the old one had the step sides.
Yeah.
And stepped on the front here too, I believe. I have a kit in my stash. So.
Yeah.
And well, of course, it was a different thickness too of the saucer section area. It was thinner or thicker? I can't remember.
I think it wasn't thick enough. I think that there wasn't enough thickness to the rim of the saucer.
Right.
So I think they beefed that up. But apparently round 2 has gotten a hold of some better reference material for the studio model for the Reliant. And the word is that they're going to be using that to work on their 350 Reliant. And it's just a matter of budgeting the tooling for it. So,
well, I know a lot of people have been waiting for that kit for years.
Yeah. Well, they get asked about it. Like, it is the first thing they get asked about at Wonderfest all the time. So,
yeah. No,
I
know. I definitely buy one or two.
I'm sure that a lot of people will buy if they do it. Now, I am just looking for a Dremel. And wouldn't you know it, my Dremel already has my hogging bit still in it from the last bit of work I was doing, which, if I'm not mistaken, was this work for the support. I was hogging it out. That took a while to do, and that was a bit it was precise work to do because I had to get it deep enough to take that whole support in place, but then I didn't want to go through the other side, which I did in a couple places, and I'll have to patch that up, and that's no big deal. But it was definitely a balancing act doing that.
That would be my concern too, would be going right through.
Yeah. So catching up on the chat, Dash says, "Oh, it's gray." So yeah, the pylons. I just put the pylons away. I'm going to zoom this out a little bit, and I always default to doing that the wrong, but I got it right that time. So the pylon, the one of them, and I don't know if it's from the first kit or the second kit. At this point, they're all interchangeable until paint goes on and decals go on. But it is got the gray primer on it so that I could see just how well smoothed over and camouflaged that metal support was. Let's see. Todd says, "Now I meant I was there when Ian nuked the stream last night." Yeah, I had just left, so I came in just after Ian came in last night, and then I left just before Ian left last night. Yes. Dash says, "It was funny. I thought it was me till everyone else was on Discord." Yeah. Well, because if I leave, I've got some cleanup to do. that's not really good for being on cam and stuff like that. So I leave the studio and then I throw the stream on right away, and I just listen for the rest of the time that I'm getting cleanup work done. And Ian was talking about what he'd accomplished and all of that, and then he left, and then suddenly the stream was done. And so I went right to StreamYards to see what was going on, and the stream was gone off of StreamYards. And then I kept it open a little bit just to see if you guys were starting a new one, and of course you guys didn't. So Blair says, appreciate the effort with broadcast boys. Looking great, Ken.
Well, thanks, Blair.
And Dash says, I need to find them in my list to watch your guys build, yet been too busy and tired. Yeah, well, and I just got back from Florida. And so I've been playing catch up this week. And I had a video to produce at work that I couldn't get work done on before I left because I was waiting for some voiceover to be recorded, which really dictated the pace of the video. So, and it was due for tomorrow. So that was kind of my priority first thing back this week. And so I've kind of been focused on all of that. But I haven't had a chance to catch up on a whole pile of YouTube videos from a bunch of people. So I caught the first part of Jordan's first video where you guys are talking about the kit and stuff like that, but I haven't had a chance to see the rest of it yet.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's YouTube. It'll be there forever, basically.
Yeah. Blair says, super stoked on supports Andrew. She will be strong like bull. She'll be strong like bull. Yeah. The more I was looking on it and seeing how that material reacts in the heat and stuff like that, I just could not move forward on the builds until I dealt with the pylons. Because the last thing I want is for, now I know that they're probably going to be living in air-conditioned conditions for the rest of their life once they get to their home destinations. But I didn't want them being shipped or traveling or anything like that, ending up in warmer conditions by accident or something like that, and something happening to the pylons, or just over the course of time, because we're not so sure about the material yet over the long haul, anything happening where those pylons sag on the back end. So now I can be 100% sure in the knowledge that those pylons are not going to go anywhere. And there's good support with the pylons being attached to the ship on the back end, especially with the metal armature in the secondary hull. So it's all going to be connected together. It's all going to support each other. And I think it's going to last the test of time. Jody says he made his sticker. I'm assuming he means the saucer on the Reliant.
Yes, he's doing a Reliant ship, kind of a bash like he always does. So it's looking really good. He's drilled a lot of windows in that thing. Yeah.
Windows are always fun to do.
Yes.
Dash says, so is the kit itself that bad of a build? It needs all of this? Yes. So Dash, are you talking about the Reliant kit and all of the secondary parts, or are you talking about the Enterprise D kit here and all the extra supports I've been putting into it? Because it could go either way there.
Yes.
Right.
I'll just say right now for the Reliant, it's I mean, when they upgraded, they basically got rid of the stepped shaping on the sides. It did.
Here, I'm just gonna throw you in there.
Sure. On the stepping, they did have little points on there that would be considered windows, but nowhere near like where these are or anything, and they look pretty bad. So this, putting it flat, and then what they've done is they put the windows all on decals. So you're gonna have to drill windows if you want to light it.
Yeah.
Or use the decals. Yeah, same here. You'd have to use the decals on the front, or you can use the photo etch set to use the templates to drill in. But also this kit is back from the what year did I say it was? 86 or something like that. It's from back in the day, and it was very inaccurate. So Will's gone and just done a lot of more accuracy things just to make it nicer. Yeah. And I want to make it as nice as I can as well. So I'm just following in his steps and doing things like you can even see the little holes there for the phasers. And it used to be on a raised rectangle. I had to sand that down, scribe the line in, and put divots in to put these holes.
Yeah.
If you wanted to, you could actually run fiber optic cable through these holes and do a phaser firing effect.
Yeah, it's too small to put lasers in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dash was saying that he was referring to the Reliant when he asked if it was that bad that it needed all that stuff.
Yeah, I'd say no. If you just want to build a basic kit and rely on the decals, you'll be fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
Jody says a cutting disc might be better. I'm assuming that you're referring to clearing this out. With the experience I've had with this resin so far, I think the hogging it out with the with my bit there is probably going to be my best bet, which I will do here in just a little bit.
Yeah, because that goes pretty thick on the back end where it starts going up.
Yeah. Dash says, are they putting one in the Enterprise B Excelsior class armature from Helios? Yes, they are. And my metal armature is on its way. So last I checked, it was in Montreal. And if you give me a moment.
See, the only thing I'm concerned about on that for the armatures and stuff would be for the warp nacelles because they're so long on the Excelsior.
Yeah. Now the thing with that is they are quite thick. The material is quite thick. So it's possible that given the thickness and the shape that they will hold themselves together well, but I may still put metal strip all the way along the nacelle just to give it a bunch of extra support. I'm not sure what I will do with lighting for the nacelles and how I will approach that.
Right.
But let's see. You're not going to be able to hear that, but I will scrub through here. Let me take my face off. They just re-released this video. This is oh, sorry. This is no, let me go back. This is an exploded view of the kit and all the parts that go into it. This piece here, the pylon piece, is a printed metal piece, which is nice. So that's part of the metal armature, but it's also part of the body of the kit. So let me just scrub ahead here to see the metal armature. Now, I think the metal armature that they are going to display here, if I can find it.
I thought it was further back in the video, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, so there's the metal armature that they put together. Here's a look. Yeah, here's this is what I was looking for. So this is the metal armature for the secondary hull, and so it all goes together the way that they're showing it here. All fits together, I guess. It even looks like it's been designed so that no welding is required.
So would you just use like epoxy, or what would you use?
I would probably reinforce it with epoxy, but it looks like it's been designed to all slot together and hold together on its own.
Right. Probably once that has the shell of the kit around it.
Yeah. There's the metal part. Now I think this is the 450 or the 450 scale, or the 4 something scale, 460 or whatever it is. So the medium sized kit. and that gets bolted in. So, and there's the saucer section armature that gets in there. So they're going with a circular disc, sort of like what I've done for the B. Yeah, the D. Yeah. So that's what I'm expecting to come here soon, hopefully. And any word on your kit?
Nothing.
Nothing yet? Because they ordered at the same time, right?
Yeah, I ordered them both at the same time. I guess they must have been doing the Bs first, I guess.
That's my guess, is that they were probably in the middle of doing a run of the B, or it's also possible that they had somebody order the 650B and back out, and so Daniel might have just bumped me up there.
Could be too.
On that.
Knows who you are, so.
All right, let's see. Catching up on chat. Dash says, because I have the kit, but I wasn't sure. Is it the older version of the kit that you have, or is it the newer box? Because if it's one of the newer box styles, then it'll be the updated kit that, like, what they're using, what Ken and Jordan are using. And Josh says Sonic Saber. Yeah, I actually the reason Ken came on, because I was needing some advice on whether I should use the Sonic Saber on opening this up, but the consensus was it might be a little bit too thick between here and here to safely use the Sonic Saber. But that's why Ken came on. And no, I'm not holding Ken hostage on the screen. Ken is welcome to stay as long as he wants to, or head off whenever he wants to. So I'm not holding him hostage.
If you want, I can show Dash here what the box top looks like for the latest boxing. So that's the latest boxing of the Reliant. So it's got the Star Trek Wrath of Khan, Star Trek II Wrath of Khan on it. So that's the one.
And I wonder what my box looks like. Let me just grab it here. Just have to pull my set apart a little bit to access it. So that's the newest box version, right?
Yes.
And no, I don't like that view. This is the view I prefer. And so this is the box I have.
Yeah, I have one like that as well.
Which has the newer tooling. I think this one came out around 2016.
2017.
2017?
Yeah, I think is what we when we did the research on it to which is the last version before this version.
Okay. Right now I've got a bunch of my kits here. If I go to this view here, I've got a bunch of my kits just being used as like edge dressing for my YouTube background.
Yep.
They might be hard to see there just because the depth of view of the camera, it's out of focus in the back. But I've got an old DS9, an old DS9, an adversary set, a super chat from Dash. Thanks for the answers, guys. Sorry for my Q questions. No problem, Dash, and thank you for the super chat. That is amazing. I've got so these ones are old ones, like old original versions here. So adversary set, Vorcha class, Galler class, Cardassian, Runabout, Kazon, nobody cares about that one. Voyager. Then I've got Defiant, the
Lewis?
the 537 refit, Reliant, and then topping it off is one of the clear kits for the Enterprise D.
Nice.
And then I've got all my on the other side that you can't see right now, kind of blocking the edge of the set. On the other side are two 350 refits, a 350 or two 350 NX01s, a 350 original series Enterprise, and then I've just got an empty box for one of the Enterprise E's sitting on top of it.
Nice.
Part of it was I needed to make space on my shelving for some other stuff. So I figured I'd incorporate it into my set dressing when I moved everything around. And then, yeah, so it's worked out quite well. When I first got back into the hobby, I decided that I was going to try to make sure I could get as many of the kits that I did as a kid and as a teenager back in stock, so I could try to get a chance to redo them. Talking about generosity, because Dash was very generous here with Super Chat. Ken, did you get your package in the mail?
No, by the time I got to the pharmacy, it was too late. I went there and the post office part was already closed.
Oh, okay. So too late as in the post office part was closed, not too late as in it was no longer going to be there for pickup.
No, it'll be there Monday when I go.
So, a few generous people sent out a bunch of these Omni thingamabobbies to a group of people, and so our super chatter, I believe, was one of those people.
Yes, he was. That was,
and I think he was kind of the driving force between on that. So thank you, Dash.
Yes.
So apparently this is the bee's knees when it comes to holding wires down for soldering. I haven't had. I'm just opening this up for the first time. So I don't really know, but there's these things inside, and I'm assuming these are the clips. And then I'm assuming they kind of attach to whatever this thing is here, and that attaches to the base plate or something.
Yeah, so they should be like magnetic or
metal, I see.
And the thing is magnetic.
So I think I understand.
So that way you can kind of place them wherever you want at whatever angle you want on that surface. You don't have to be dictated by two hands that are a certain distance apart.
Okay, and then. You just push. Do you just push down on? No. I'm gonna have to learn how this works. Oh, I get it. You push. You push up, and it goes up, and then it clamps down in here.
Nice.
Very cool. So, thank you to Dash and to Todd for sending those out. So yeah, I've never played with these before, and honestly, the first few times, magnets are going all over the place here. Honestly, the first couple times that people mentioned the Omni thingies, I had absolutely no idea what they were talking about. But apparently, they are just the thing for doing this work.
Thanks, Blair. That's amazing.
What did Blair do? Another super chat from Blair, who is going to be receiving one of these Enterprise Ds when they are done.
Lucky man.
There we go. So that came in the mail this week, and I'm going to be doing a whole lot of wiring in the next little bit. So I am sure that it is going to be put to good use. I'm just going to put it back in the box just to keep it nice and fresh and clean until the first time I get solder dumped on it or something like that. So, all right. So I don't know how much noise is this making on camera?
A fair amount.
A fair amount?
It's bearable to me anyway.
The one thing I like about I like to use these bits on the Dremel rather than a sanding, like a sanding bit or one of those grinding wheels or something like that. because it takes chunks out. Now, they're small chunks, but it takes chunks out rather than aerosolizing or whatever it is. It's essentially putting a whole bunch of dust in the air. So it's a lot safer when you're using these resin pieces than if you're to use like a sanding wheel or a grinding wheel or something like that. That makes the tiny dust particles. So these are bigger particles, so they don't end up floating in the air and they just fall to the ground. So I like using that.
Yeah, it's a miniature router bit almost.
Yeah, essentially, right? So let's see. Catching up on chat here a little bit. Jody says, I was mistaken. I thought you were removing and replacing the supports. I'm not quite sure what you mean, and that might just be far enough back that I'm not remembering what you're referring to. Dash says, I need to contact them again. I see about a update on my 2 resin kits. Yeah. So the thing is that they're at so Helios is at the mercy of the factory in China that's actually fabricating these things. And I don't know how many they're able to actually fabricate at once. Depends on the number of machines that they have going, and probably what other orders they've got going on as well. So because Helios is not making the physical parts themselves, they're kind of at the mercy of the factory. So I think sometimes they don't have the full information on when things are coming. Because I've asked in the past, and they just haven't known until the thing is ready to ship. So part of communication with Helios is that they're in a completely different time zone than we are for North America. But the other thing is that a lot of times they just don't have the information on the kits because they're at the mercy of the factory. Josh says, I assume that's where you can mount it also. Again, I'm far enough back on chat that I'm forgetting the context of these chats. I will have to look and see what my box says. That's probably in reference to the Reliant. And he says, okay, that looks like the one I have. Probably referring to the one I showed.
Yeah, the Reliant.
Yeah. And Dash says, those magnets are nice and grippy. Okay, good. Jody says, I missed that because of an ad. Oh, did you mean
OmniPixel, I think.
The Omni thing mid-jiggy? I can pull it out again here in a little bit and show it off again. And Dash says, sucks that you had to pay such a heavy tax to get it in Canada. Great healthcare, but sucky tax laws. Yeah, duty is just something that we have to pay. So, I mean, that is what it is. Not much we can do about that.
I've had the odd one slip through that they don't catch.
Sorry, what was that?
I've had the odd one that slips through that they don't catch.
Yeah, there's it seems to be hit and miss whether things actually get charged or not.
Yeah.
Like the and it's interesting how things get charged sometimes, because I ended up paying duty on the metal armature coming in for the Enterprise B. But I don't think I paid duty for the metal pieces, like the metal plates coming in for the Enterprise D. So where are you guys at with winter?
It is dying winter. Like we've had a really nice week of like a lot of +1s, +2s. I think tomorrow's supposed to be +6.
So when we went to Florida, we threaded the needle as far as our departure from Toronto. So we left, we flew out of Toronto on Saturday the 15th, which is why I didn't have a live stream that night. And our flight was delayed the flights that day, there had been snow in Toronto Thursday into Friday, and so they were still on. They were just finishing up their cleanup from all of that at the airport, and then it started to snow again on Saturday. So all the flights leaving had to go to be de-iced. And de-icing, depending on how many flights are being de-iced at the same time, can add 20 minutes up to an hour to the departure time, right? So
Right.
all of the flights were delayed, causing a cascade of delay through the system just because of de-icing. But it wasn't too bad on the way out. I think we were delayed about 2 hours, all said and done, by the time we got off into the air. But we threaded the needle because it just got the cleanup done from the Thursday, Friday snow. It was only just starting to snow Saturday. And then they got dumped on Saturday night and Sunday. So Monday was supposed to be their recovery day to get everything dealt with and all the flights, recover all the canceled and delayed flights. And then Delta decided to land upside down on runway 34. 34 left. So that shut everything down for hours. So we kind of threaded that needle of after the first batch of snow, before the next batch of snow, and before all the craziness happened at Pearson. So we were fortunate to get out. And then most of the delay and backlog was taken care of by the time we came home the next Sunday. So, but our flight was actually delayed 3 hours on the way home. And the reason it was delayed, I've never heard this before. So the plane, they changed our airplane 3 times. We were supposed to be on an A330. And we had selected our seats for an A330. And then they switched it to a 777, which messed up all of our seats. But then they swapped 777s and put a different 777 on. Because I'm a bit of an aviation nerd that way. I check the tail fin numbers and all that kind of stuff, and I track the flights and the inbound flights and stuff like that. And anyway, our flight, the flight from Toronto down to Tampa was delayed and delayed and delayed. It kept getting delayed. Turns out that the inbound plane to Toronto was doing a long haul flight, a full long haul flight from India. And so it was a full plane, long flight, meaning full lavatory tanks. And then the lavatory tanks froze. And so the reason for the delay was that they had to service the tanks. They had to thaw out the lavatory tanks before they could empty them, before they could then put that plane on our flights. Never heard that in my lifetime before.
Ooh, not a good job.
Yeah. So. But we did eventually get home, although my wife ended up being sick the whole flight back.
Oh no!
And the whole drive home. So it made for a bit of a crazy return home. Dash says it's those hidden costs for the labor of the craft at times. Yeah, and one of the things about living in Canada is that we do end up paying more for a lot of supplies that end up coming from other countries. That's why I try to get solar res. I buy solar res on the US version of Amazon before I go to Florida. And then I don't have to have it shipped to Canada. Although this time we decided to go with carry-on only. So I couldn't actually bring it back. So my in-laws are putting it in their car when they put their car on the train to bring it back once winter's done. So that's how we're getting it back into the country.
Well, that's good.
Mm-hmm. Because the liquid you can't take on the flight if you're doing carry-on only.
Yeah.
Let's see. Dash also said that's why I got you the Sabre, Jody, since you already had an Omni. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
Jody
cool.
had an Omni Fixo already.
Okay. He was one of the cool kids. Yeah. And Dash also says, well, at least you didn't come in on that one. No. No, although I just found out somebody came into work today. No, not today, yesterday. And they realized that it's a flight that they've been on, that exact same flight. So they felt a little weird about that. Dash also says, my folks had a delay out of Hawaii years ago, and some lady called out about some guy having a gun. Well, they had to disembark those people anyways. She was lying about it over seating arguments. That's crazy.
Ugh.
There's certain things you do not say on an airplane. And Dash says, you're smuggling in goods.
Well, it's not like it's illegal here. It's just more expensive to get it shipped here.
Jody says, it's not an OmniFixo, but it's similar. It's much bigger and less engineered. Well, I had one of those ones with the big bendy, like gooseneck arm things, and it is a little difficult using it with 0402 SMD wire because it's so thin and narrow, right?
Yeah, like my soldering station has two arms on it I've never used.
What, built right into the station?
Yep.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I think this was the good bet. Now I'm going to clean it up quite a bit, but it's working its way through. And it's not pushing everything into the air, which I like. Oh. Hold on. One moment. Please stand by while we complete your long distance call. To avoid this message, dial 1 for a potential long distance number. Here we go. Jody, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I've been using. Amazon special.
Okay.
But now I'm one of the cool kids with one of the Omnimajiggies.
I still have one of the old ones where it's just like a rod with two little arms on it.
Yeah, do you have the one with the magnifying glass on it?
No, I don't.
No?
My soldering station has one of those also on it.
Jody says, I also have one of those helping hand things, and I never use that either. Dash says, Todd showed that trick that it can hold other things like tweezers and parts because they aren't heavy alligator clips. Yeah. Oh, and it sounds like Jody has the same thing as I was using, except his is yellow. I mean, wouldn't you know it? I'm caught up on all the chat. That rarely happens. So I think this is definitely going to be the way to go. Might be a little bit loud for live stream. That'll do a little bit. Chat a little bit. Do a little bit. Chat a little bit.
Don't forget to give a thumbs up.
This countdown in the background is ominously hovering over me, bearing down on me.
89 days or something, or what is that?
89 days, 1 hour, 50 minutes, and 26 seconds.
Oof. That's a little out of focus for us, but yeah.
That's the depth of view on the camera, or depth of field, I should say, on the camera. I also, this just went up. buy one before the stream.
Oh, here you go.
Which is always nice to have the count go up a little bit. And there's a guy on that I've chatted to periodically on Facebook who's just started a YouTube channel for modeling, and looks like he's actually going to do a decent job with the videos and editing and stuff like that. So if he gets a bit more content on there, I'll probably highlight it on the channel. So what do you use for editing your videos, Ken?
DaVinci Resolve.
Okay. Same as what I use.
Yeah. And every once in a while I try to add a new trick in, to slow, I feel like I'm older, so a little slower on the uptake for technology. So I would try to, like, every once in a while, like, okay, now I'm going to try to put fading in music and stuff. So if you're doing that, or, that sort of thing, something new.
So I'm not sure, because I haven't done chroma key on the free version, but and I can't remember what all is not in the free version that's in the paid version, but the chroma key on DaVinci Resolve works phenomenally. It's really easy to use. So I'll probably, when these are done, I'll probably take them into the studio against the green screen and do some filming, and then work on some composite shots. Nice. With some Starfield backgrounds and stuff like that, and see if I can, because that's something I've never done before, and see if I can play around with it and get some fun shots of the models.
Yeah, Jody says he's focused. His wife started a Wonderfest jar. That's kind of exciting.
A Wonderfest jar. What is the purpose of said Wonderfest jar?
I'm assuming it's saving up for a trip to Wonderfest, but we'll see.
Well, I'm through 2 of the sections. Oh, I just realized I've got the wrong screen up here. Again, just a service I provide. So I've got 2 sections initially cleared out, and like I said, I will clean those up. And it looks like I might have some putty work to do there once it's on. I don't know if this thing's gonna have enough battery to do the job, but let's see. Jody says it's only a 14-hour drive from here. Where's my mouse? There it is. I've got 4 screens in here. I've got a laptop screen, 2 screens here, and then the screen in the back. And so I have a habit of losing my mouse. It's only a 14-hour drive from here if we go through Michigan. Yeah, we'll be going through Michigan too. We'll be crossing, you'll be driving through more of Michigan than I will, but we'll be crossing the Ambassador Bridge and then going down through Michigan down that way. I think it's 12 or 13 hours for us. I'd hate to think how long it would be from Winnipeg.
Yeah, I'd probably fly.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times people fly into Winnipeg just to drive back into Ontario.
Yeah, it's actually not too long of a drive to get to the Ontario border from Winnipeg.
Yeah, I've done it. I've flown Toronto to Ottawa to Winnipeg. Ottawa to Winnipeg? And then driven back in because I had to go to Kenora.
Yep.
I'm just going to throw the vac on here and get rid of all this mess. So that's through. It's not pretty right now, but it's through. Like I said, I will clean that up and then make sure it all test fits properly. So let's get the other one done. And then I've got 2 more to do after this, right? And fortunately, I don't have to like independently align them up on the other pylon because the metal piece is in exactly the same spot on both pylons.
Well, that's handy.
Yeah. It's going to be convenient timing getting these things done for Wonderfest because I think our StreamYard yearly subscription is due around the same time.
I think June, yeah.
You know, I used to get really nervous about making all these alterations to these parts on these kits. Now it doesn't really affect me too much. Doesn't bother me too much.
No, I'm still in that stage. This Reliant.
So I'm not drinking this now. I didn't put it far enough away from my workspace. And there's little bits of resin in there.
Yep.
I'm going to put that back there. Jody says, the map says 10 hours to Louisville from Sault Ste. Marie. It takes me 3 to get to the Sault from Sudbury. Yeah. And what's the cost of a year subscription for StreamYard? Well, that all depends on how many of us are members. That would probably be a offline question for somebody like Todd or Buck.
Buck's our guy for that.
Yeah. Well, either that stopped because it just got bogged down too much, or it stopped because the battery's dead. Probably because it got bogged down.
Okay, thanks for letting us know there, Todd.
What was that?
They want $2,500 a year for StreamYards.
So dividing that by how many ever people are participating in that.
Yeah, or any admins.
Yeah. I mean, I've got to say, it has made my my live streaming a little more simple or streamlined, I should say. And I can have somebody like Ken here to talk to while I'm streaming.
That's right.
Makes that kind of thing like super easy.
Yeah, because I've been admin as well, so I can see whatever streams are running, and I can jump into them.
Yeah. Todd says allows 10 admins so we can split it up. Yeah. But it's been really useful for me to be able to use it for my live streams. I mean, the software I was using before works well enough, but makes it a lot easier for collaboration and all that kind of stuff. When you've got other people that can just come in to the stream to help you out or chat with you or keep you company or whatever, right? Woo, that's hot. So, yeah, if you get your finger just a little bit too close to this while it's spinning, it gets really, really hot. FYI.
Also, Jody, if you watch Jordan and I's buddy builds, that first part where we're together, that's being recorded on StreamYards as well. And you can actually record your entire episode on StreamYards and then download it and edit it and do whatever you need to do. Yeah, they just put the price up apparently this year from last year.
Yeah. Which, hey, that might that would possibly what am I trying to say? That would probably solve Jody's storage issues by doing everything on the phone. Although you'd still have to edit it, so scratch what I said. because it's an edit. It's editing that's the issue for Jody with his current hardware.
Yes.
All right, let me. I know for a fact I'm going to need to clear out more on the inside here for it to slot on top and stuff. But let me grab the pylon and just kind of see if we're making progress here and if it'll slot on. So I will run these wires through. I fully expect this not to work first out the gate, because I fully expect that there are bits and bobs of resin that are still in the way of it slotting on properly, but we will see.
Yeah, Jody says if he does start to stream, he's afraid he'll have to stick with the free version. And that is an option.
Oh! Would you look at this? Would you look at this? I mean, some refinement necessary, but would you look at this?
First try, almost perfect. That's so good.
So I will definitely, and you know what? There's not. Let me see how, like, look how that lines up there on the front. I don't think I'm going to have any problem getting this aligned properly, because I'll get the other one on, and I will. I'm not going to need to worry about a pin up front.
Nice.
So what I'll do, I'll definitely tie this up just so it sits a little. It's just slightly cantered a little bit. Let me see if you can. So it's a little bit like this way a little bit.
Okay.
It just needs to come this way a little bit, but that's probably just because I need to clean out the resin inside. But I think that this is actually going to go really easily. So that's looking good. Let me see about this side here. Because when I go to install it, what I will do is I'll flip it over. So I'll throw some, I'll get it roughly in place. I'll throw some epoxy in here, and then I'll flip it over on a flat surface. And that will make sure that the alignment this way is perfect. All right. But before I do the final installation, I need to light block the interior of these parts. So essentially, my order of operations here, and this one's not going on very easily, but it is going on. Look at that.
Nice. That makes it look like a huge jump. Like now you can start to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. Well, I think, fingers crossed, I think the assembly of this, now that I've got all the armature dealt with, which took forever because I had to do all the research and development on it, right? So now that that's taken care of, I think the rest of the assembly of this thing is actually going to go fairly smoothly. Like I said, fingers crossed. But for an initial test fit, that's not bad.
Well, at least you know what to expect now for the next one too.
Yeah. Well, I'm still going to build these side by side.
Right.
But when it comes to April and May, I may focus on the one that's going to Wonderfest. Also, the decals on the other one are going to take a little bit longer, I think, because I've got to get the custom decals done up for that one, because it's not the Enterprise.
Right.
So the one going to Belgium is a custom name registry, but I've contacted Keith again because I just haven't had time to deal with that, and I need to find out what he needs from me to get that custom work done, because he's using Lou's artwork,
Okay.
and he's printing them on his five color. What is it?
The
UV
resin
printer. The 5-color UV printer.
Sorry, yeah, UV.
I guess that's what it's called. And apparently they've turned out really nicely. And they're white backed and have the white coloring on them and all that kind of stuff, right? So far superior to what Helios has put out decal wise. But when Lou did the escape pods, he did them the same way they did for the show, where it's just a handful of numbers repeated over and over and over again. So I would like to have all unique escape pod numbers if possible, because that makes more sense in universe.
Yeah.
And they never expected anybody to ever know that the numbers were repeated on that studio model. It's only because we've got good quality photographs of the studio model now that we know that. So I'm gonna have to do my own escape hatch artwork, but I just need to know what he's gonna need from me in order to make that happen. And then I'll probably have to do up the artwork for the registry and name for those decals. So that'll be a bit of work, but that will be installing the decals will be, that's going to sit, that will sit fine. Although
that one looks a little crooked.
This one is not automatically aligning. So I'm going to have to, and that'll just be because I need to clear out more material on the inside of that.
Yeah.
So I know why that's doing that. That's not a problem. I'll be able to fix that. And even if I have to clear out more that you'd be able to see on the side, like you can't really see anything there. I will have to fill in probably. But even if I have to do that in order to get those parts in, I can always putty those. So that is great progress, I think. Here you can see where it came through on the bottom a little bit. And actually, while I've got it upside down here, I might as well take the time now to fill in those couple sections. So I'll just I'll whip up a small batch of epoxy sculpt and fill those in. Put my sweaty gloves back on. You know what? Actually, before I do that, because I've got most of a pot of, at least half a pot of tea left here. Let me go grab a new cup. It won't be my spot cup, but let me go grab a new cup so I can get some fresh tea here. So, I don't know, talk amongst yourselves for a minute. Or Ken, tell a story or something. As long as it's E for everyone.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So this one time, so is everybody enjoying seeing the progress here of the Enterprise D here, the 650? I have to say it's definitely amazing the work he's been doing. And it's good to see he's put on this extra armature, this metal armature here. It's gonna, because I've seen it before with resin where it starts to droop. No, I'm not an expert on resin, but I've seen it droop on like one of Lou's ships. I think he had a big E, and so it's kind of nice to have that. Oh, he just went to get a new mug for his tea that doesn't have resin in the mug.
Yeah, I kept my teacup a little bit too close to my work area while I was hogging out that resin, and some of it landed inside the teacup, and I'm not drinking that. So this cup is not as much fun, but far less problems in it. All right. Let me grab the epoxy sculpt.
Where do you get epoxy sculpt in Canada?
Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah, you can just order it on Amazon, no problem. And it's nice because you can actually order it on the Canadian Amazon. You don't have to do it through the US version.
Well, that's good.
My very first time ordering anything from Amazon, it was back when I was in school. Let's see, I was working for the school at the time, so it would have been my 4th year. So would have been 2003, 2004, somewhere in there, and I was ordering a CD.
Yep.
And I didn't realize at the time that they had both a Canadian site and an American site. It was a fairly new thing back then, right? And so I ordered my CD, and we were talking about duty and stuff like that. But I had ordered it by mistake through the US Amazon. And that's back when Amazon was primarily books and CDs and that kind of thing, right? And so, university student, not a ton of cash on hand, ordered this CD, shocked when it came with duty fees. Let's see. And you can tell that I was a Star Trek fan based on the CD I ordered. So we'll see if anybody gets the reference. It was a James Darren CD. So does anybody know the reference there and why it's associated with Star Trek?
I'm going to have to say I don't.
You don't?
I don't.
James Darren. Anyone in the chat?
Just waiting to see if anybody pops up with an answer. They're all Googling it really quick.
Yeah. Why is it a Star Trek reference? Crickets.
Crickets.
Yeah. Nobody knows.
Yeah, oddly quiet. No one seems to know.
I mean, yes, Google will know. Google will have the answer, but nobody knows without Googling it.
Todd says he has no idea.
So, okay, I'll give you a hint. One of the songs on the album would have been Just the Way You Look Tonight.
Like, is that the guy who sang the theme song for Star Trek Enterprise?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No. Not James Doohan. James Darren. You're right. It's Vic Fontaine. The guy who played Vic Fontaine. Does everybody know who Vic Fontaine was?
And he says holodeck Vic.
Yeah, holodeck Vic. Vic Fontaine. Bashir's crooner guy that he programmed for the holodeck, who became a reoccurring character on the show. So the guy who played the part had a CD, brought a CD out of the standards that were done to the same arrangements as they had done on the show. So I picked that up.
Well, that's cool. Oh, that guy.
Yeah. Oh, that guy. But yeah, I was just I was not expecting that it was coming from the U.S. because it was on the U.S. website, and that I was going to be paying duty on it.
I'm sure.
Jody said,
I was going to say, I'm sure it wasn't a huge amount of duty, but still, you're not expecting it.
Yeah. Todd says, yeah, still don't know. Didn't watch much DS9. Yeah, so the crooner in the holodeck, it was kind of like a big thing in the last half of the show, and some of the last scenes were done in the holodeck at Vic Fontaine's lounge with him singing and the way you look tonight, or the way you look tonight.
And Jody says that was the title of an episode, The Way You Look.
Yeah. Yeah, I was not a fan of the Enterprise theme song. I don't think anybody really was. I much preferred the end credit music, which was called Archer's Theme, I think.
Okay.
I thought that would have been much better to use as the opening credits. But what I thought, so I knew that it was going to be, I'd heard, so let me stop and start that again. Take two. When Enterprise first came on the air, I had heard that it was going to be a theme song with lyrics. But we didn't know what that was yet. And they had a trailer for the show come out, like a preview. And they had used a song by, I think it was The Call or The Calling, where it was like, if I would, then I could, I'll go wherever you will go. I think it was called Wherever You Will Go. So I thought, because they were using that in the promo, that was going to be the theme song for the show, which it didn't turn out to be. And given what the show's theme song was like, I think maybe going with the other one would have been a better choice. But I think they got a super good deal on that song from to use it from the author. So I think that's why they ended up going with the one that they did.
Todd said, I stopped watching Enterprise specifically because of the intro music.
Oh, yeah?
And then Jody said also he's talking about Vic. He said he had a good episode with Nog as well.
Yeah, that was a really good episode. Most of that episode happened in the holodeck. Nog was struggling with losing his leg. And what he experienced on the battlefield. It was quite an episode. I really enjoyed the character of Nog. I think Nog had probably one of the best secondary character arcs on Deep Space Nine.
He was a good character. Didn't the actor pass away a few years ago?
He did. Which is a little close to home because he had kidney disease, I believe.
Jody says Nog had some good development. Yeah, I think he did. Especially considering you look at the first episode of Next Generation that they had Ferengi on.
Which is funny that the first Ferengi was played by Armin Shimmerman.
Yeah, he was one of them.
And force them to wear clothing.
Throwing a fit when the thunder went off. It was loud.
And then we never saw those whip weapons again until Enterprise. When Ethan Phillips played a Ferengi on Enterprise and he had the whip weapon.
That's a throwback.
Yeah, it was a great callback to that.
And no offense to their ship, but that original ship shape, it just, I don't know, it looked like it was kind of thrown together last minute.
What, the Ferengi ship?
Yeah.
I always kind of liked it. Although I don't like, we never really got a good sense of just how big it was.
No.
Because it's bigger than it's bigger than I always thought it was. Like it's equivalent in size to the saucer section of the, like in width to the saucer section of the D.
Yeah. But you don't get to see any good detail on it or anything.
Well, and I never knew there were moving parts on that ship.
I didn't know until you just told me now.
Yeah, so there's a piece on the top that moves, and the like prongs on the front move when it goes into like battle mode.
Okay.
And I just don't think our definition was good enough on the TVs back then to really pick up on that.
Because I've built the kit before of the 3 adversaries, and I think it had the Klingon bird of prey, the Romulan Daredix, or however you pronounce that, and the Ferengi ship. And the Ferengi ship just didn't really have much detail to it compared to the other ones.
Yeah, well, it was so small as well.
Yes, you built that
like
kit too.
The Ferengi kit and like the Ferengi ship and the Klingon bird of prey were just so small. There wasn't really much you could really do with them.
No,
I don't know if they were meant to be in scale with the Romulan ship, or whether they didn't bother with trying to get the scalings right or anything like that. But
that's a good question. I don't know.
This one divot has taken a whole pile of epoxy sculpt in it.
But if I remember right, the wings on the Klingon bird of prey worked. You could move them up and down, if I recall properly. On that one.
I don't remember.
I have a copy of that kit in just a plain bag in a box. Like it, I didn't get it when I bought it. It was secondhand.
Yeah.
So it didn't come with the actual box. So
I've got a couple of those kits in here. I've got one back there, and I've got one more open. So the one that's on the one that's here is the original kit, but sealed in the original wrap.
Nice.
And then I've got another one like that that's in an open box up on my shelf. And then I have another one in a weird box. I never knew it came in this box. Let me just grab it here. This was part of a.
Oh.
Yeah, I never knew that it came in this box.
Like the old school Star Trek writing. Not even Next Generation.
Yeah, and this was part of a bulk kit.
Yep.
And whoever had this had already started working on the Romulan ship. They'd actually done some really nice shade work on that.
Oh yeah, no kidding. There's nothing wrong with that. I'd be proud of that.
Yeah, so it was just part of the. They clearly didn't use any adhesion promoter though.
Oh well.
But it was just part of a bulk kit purchase I bought on Facebook Marketplace, and then here's that Ferengi. It was just two parts plus some clear parts that went in here, and that was all it was.
Yeah, not very exciting.
Oh, and a piece up top. But the piece up top here moved up and forward, and then these things moved down and forward, I think, when it would go into battle mode. But yeah, there wasn't much to this little model.
Yeah. Jody said, I had the same kit when I was 18. And he's agreeing that, yes, those parts did move.
Okay.
Or is he referring to the wings on the Klingon bird of prey?
He's probably referring to the Klingon bird of prey.
Okay. Because I remember I had it when I was younger, and I remember playing with it after I'd built it and painted it. Oh, yeah, the wings, he says.
Well, I never realized back then that none of them were in scale with each other. None of the kits were in scale with each other, right?
Yeah, they don't look like it.
So for years, I had a messed up perspective of just how big the Romulan bird of prey was, because it looked about the same size as the Enterprise D, because those were the sizes of the models I had.
I don't know. Recalling back to the show, though, the Klingon or the Romulan bird of prey was quite a bit larger than the Enterprise, though.
Yeah, it was supposed to be. I mean, even on screen, you never really got the full appreciation for just how big it actually was supposed to be, because getting adequate representation of size difference between ships when you're filming them was very difficult, and it depended on how they were filmed per episode, right? So one episode it could look smaller than in another episode just because of how they filmed it, and then had them composited together with the other models, because none of the models were in scale with each other that they used for filming either, right? So.
No, yeah. Jody says, although I've seen a rendering of the Ferengi ship that has an extending neck or retracting for battle.
Yeah, so there's something in there that what actually moved on the studio model, but it never translated on screen. So it really wasn't worth their effort because it didn't translate on screen. Which I think was just a result of the resolution that we had back then.
Yeah, so he's just confirming. Yeah, the neck moves in and out. So how long does it take for that stuff to go off there, that epoxy sculpt?
It'll be hard. Like, it'll be fully hard overnight.
And are you using anything specific on it right now, or is that just water? Or
yeah, I'm just essentially wet sanding it with a wet paper towel right now, which takes care of a bunch of it. So I'll go back over it and see how it's turned out after it fully after the epoxy sculpt fully cures, and which I just leave the bit out that I have left over as a witness to the curing. That way I know that it's fully cured properly. But yeah, so I had 2 spots on this one that I accidentally broke through. And then I think there's 1 spot on the other one where I accidentally broke through. But I'm surprised I didn't have more breakthrough issues than I did. because it's really difficult to gauge the depth you're going to when you're using the handheld Dremel. And really, the Dremel was the best tool to use for it, because anything rotary, just because of the shape of the pylons and getting the tool in there, was too difficult to work with. So I ended up just using that hogging bit on the Dremel to do that. So yeah, so those little breakthrough points are fixed and filled. Jody says, okay, gentlemen, I'm going to step away so I can upload part 9. Have a great night, everyone. Well, you know what, Jody? It is 11 p.m. Eastern, which means I am ending the stream because I've got to be up early to work in the morning, and 2 hours is all I can do for a live stream on a Saturday night. So you are not going to be missing anything. You have made it to the end of the stream. So with those parts being filled in, I am going to call it there. So thank you, Ken, for coming on board to answer a question and sticking it out with me for 2 hours.
You're welcome.
Keeping me company as I do this work. It's been interesting just to kind of work through all this. I'm definitely going to have to clear out some more here. It might just be a metric of the metal piece being a little bit closer. Oh, let me put that on camera. A little bit closer to the edge than it is on the other one. So I'll hog that out. I'll refine that. And then I will, after I refine that, I will light block these nacelles. I can take that one right off. I will light block these nacelles. And so I will mask off the areas that need to be not painted. And then I will light block paint the inside. I will do a black coat. Then I'll do a white coat for refraction. I've already got, I don't know if you can see there, but I've already got the holes drilled in for the 0402 SMDs to go in for the navigation lights back here. And I'll get that painted up. And then we will get these bottom pieces installed, because then this gives me basically a cradle to build up the rest of the nacelles. So I'll have to get the wiring in with or the LEDs in and kind of build that up. But I will be installing the pylons onto the lower secondary hull and the armature before I start building up the rest of the nacelle. So that's kind of an order of operations that's going to be happening. So thank you, everyone, for spending some time here. Jody says, okay, then, nice show. Good job, Ken.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining me. If you've enjoyed the live stream, make sure that you hit that like button. If you're new to my channel or haven't done so yet, make sure that you hit that subscribe button today. Let me be happy if you do. But for now, my name is Andrew. Our producer today has been Ken, and this is Canadian Starships. Have a great night, everyone.